I mean, you've got so many things that you've done since then. One being
things.
a couple. Well, I mean, you've got your podcast as well.
Oh, yeah,
that we're here to talk about.
That's right. That was it. That's what I'm talking about. Love Islanders.
Yeah.
You go on. You talk about Love Island for a bit, and then you mention the thing that you want to talk about afterwards.
So, anybody who doesn't know, let them know about the podcast, how it came about.
Yeah. Well, everyone's doing a podcast these days.
They are indeed. Some
so,
of them are so shit, aren't they? Oh, yeah.
So it seemed
that
that
time a good one came around.
Yeah.
it seemed like a good idea. It's something that me and my wife do. We have a YouTube channel where we sort of vlog. We started that in lockdown, and it seemed to be quite popular for a little while. When people had nothing better to do, when they really needed some entertainment. I mean, the channel could do with another lockdown, I've got to be honest. That was really...
Wait to sell the podcast.
Subscribe.
But yeah, it was off the back of that, of us vlogging together, that we were approached and asked if we fancied doing a podcast, and now we do. And I really, really enjoy it, because... We don't handle any of the when we're vlogging on YouTube. It's like edited by us. And shot
you do the
by
editing
us.
as
yeah,
well. Oh, wow.
No one does anything.
Yeah.
The thumbnails, the titles, we do everything.
That's impressive.
Only because we can't. I can't let that raw footage.
So you're saying your entire career would be over?
Yeah,
right. Okay.
We got to keep it all in house.
Understood.
And Claire does protect me a lot. She does a lot of the editing, and a lot of stuff I fight for. Like, we do stuff, and I go, "That's really funny. You got to keep that in." And she goes, "I think it will cancel you." Okay.
Just say it was Jay. Just say it was Jay.
So we can't like ship it out to an editor to do. But with the podcast, what's really great is that it is all taken care of. So all me and Claire have to do is turn up, sit down in front of the microphone, and we can just talk about all the stuff that annoys us, all the stuff that we hate about each other. Also, I like to say that it is. I know that it's quite in vogue for couples to have a podcast, or married couples to have a podcast. They're too happy. I've listened to a couple of them.
Very true.
They're too cheerful.
Yeah.
That's not.
So if you're looking for a depressing hour and a half,
No, it's not depressing at all. It's just more of an honest representation of what two people who have been married for over 10 years, how they talk to each other.
Yeah.
And what they think about each other. Which
I've
I think
seen
is
some clips.
which I think is way more fun.
Yeah, your wife she's great. She's like,
She's all right.
literally like hilarious. She will just straight up be like, no, and this is why, and this is like how I think of it. And
She doesn't. She's got no time for fools, and unfortunately for her, she's married the biggest fool, which I really love, and that's where it all came about, really, because she doesn't, like I say, she doesn't entertain foolish people, and one of my favourite things to do in the world is wind her up.
Yeah.
And I just thought, if I can get this on camera and start vlogging this, me being an idiot and you getting annoyed with it, I think people would really like that.
Yeah.
So it's all started from there, and we brought a book out as well at one point, and it's nuts. It's insane what you can do these days.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
How have you found the YouTube stuff? Because I saw you started off like with the gaming.
Yeah, I really like it. I like to think of myself as not being in early, but certainly taking notice of what people were doing on YouTube quite early, and I found it really interesting and really exciting. And I was working in television at the time, obviously, and I think for a long time there was a sort of there was a bit of a snobbery around
like traditional media looking down on
But I was really flying the flag. I was going, no, you got to check these people out. They're really like, not even just funny, but just genuinely quite interesting and quite. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm quite nosy. I just quite like knowing what's going on in people's lives and what kettle they use and things like that.
Smeg.
But
Whoa, come on.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh God.
sorry, do I need a shout?
Yes, please.
Okay. No, so it's really, I think it's brilliant what people do on YouTube, and it cuts out the middleman. It cuts out the gatekeepers, and you get with these incredible people like yourselves that come up with stuff and don't have a gatekeeper, don't have someone there saying you can't do that, or or if you do want to do that, you have to do it more like this and and that's not that. After a while, that's not much fun when you get people telling you what you should and shouldn't do over something that you're really passionate about. So these YouTubers, they're just they're the punk rock stars of today because they don't answer to anyone. They don't have to.
That's man.
And then
Have you seen them? No.
But you know what I mean. But you know what I mean.
No, I know what you
but
mean.
also
Yeah.
they end up in Lamborghinis half the time and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
then you just go, good for them. Good on you.
100%.
Didn't do what I did, which was turn up to meetings at the broadcasters and go, oh, would you mind putting me on the television? And you feel daft turning up to those meetings. Oh, please let me on the television.
Yeah.
No, they just fucking went out and did it themselves, and I'd love that. Absolutely love that.
Very true. I know you're good friends with Joe Sugg, who we're friends with. He owns our management, and I've had
Does
so
indeed.
many conversations with him about the exact same thing. Like, we've been in like huge TV companies that had meetings, and ultimately they're just going to go with somebody who's like been on the TV like 20 times instead of like thinking of like a really good idea that maybe a YouTuber or a TikToker or something has. And Joe is also really passionate, because obviously that's like where he came from, about exactly what you just said, which is that so many people on social media are taking it into their own hands and possibly even have bigger and better ideas than what these huge networks have, who ultimately, even if you bring, in my experience, a good idea to like a network like that, it ultimately has to get the approval from like some like boring guy at the top.
It's really so complicated, unnecessarily complicated. And it's funny you should say that about Joe, because he's the loveliest bloke in the world.
So lovely.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like Joe having a fight or something like that. Like, do you know what I mean?
I tried to fight him,
And,
yeah, he didn't put up much of one.
And we've been kicking around this project for a good, I think, over a year now, trying to get some like. And again, we're both really passionate about this thing. We both think it's a really great idea that people would really love. Be super simple to make, wouldn't cost a fortune, but just be really interesting about subject that we really like. And it's dragging on and on and on.
Yeah.
And Joe, I got a text from Joe. It's just like, fuck it, we'll do it ourselves.
Yeah.
But that was like, I'd never seen Joe talk like that. It's like, whoa, all right,
It does make sense, because you both got a big enough profile to
He
be
was
able
like-
to just
I
do
was
it on
a
YouTube
bit-
or something.
It takes you
I found
back
it a bit
some-
sexy.
Yeah, I
I
know.
was
It's like, literally, I had an
I
experience.
didn't know you could be like this, Joe.
I had an experience with him, and he like swore it was like a movie premiere or something, and it was when I'd like just like recently signed to the management. And I think if you saw my, kind of similar to like what you go through, I guess, if you saw my content, or like especially my older content, you would think that I'm more like crazy and like out there. So Joe, bless him, must have thought like at the time, oh, I'll say something a bit like crazy to like, to like get on his wavelength. And we were at, I think it was the Avatar movie premiere, and
Subtle flex.
and and I'd just gone to the
That
toilet
was
or
about
something.
20 years ago, wasn't it?
No, sorry, the new one.
Oh,
New
okay.
one, yeah.
Yes, I was
Yeah,
4
my mum
years
had me there in
old.
a pram.
I remember it well. And I was like, oh, because I was just talking to him. He was like, oh, I'm just gonna go. I went, oh, where you going? He went, I'm just gonna go and have a piss out my dick. And I went, Joe Sugg. And then he was like, ooh, and just walked off. And I was like, that is brilliant. But literally,
Was
like
he
you
drunk?
said, yeah, I think he'd had a
Yeah,
bit. Been on the cooking sherry, I think.
Yeah.
But it literally, like you said, I was like, oh, go on then, Joe Sugg. Yeah, hit me. Go on, do it.
He does get a bit merry, Joe, doesn't he?
How did you meet him?
Through, I liked his stuff, and we followed it this years ago. We followed each other on Twitter, and I noticed he followed me, and I think I sent him a message saying, "Oh mate, I really like your stuff. You're really good." And then we we just sort of would tweet each other once in a while, and then we started playing video games together online, and we just sort of bonded over video games. Really, that was the thing that we had in common the most. And we're similar age. I think I'm older than him. I'm much older than him.
No, I think
I'm
he's
about half
30.
a decade older than him.
No,
He's
I
like
don't think
20,
you're. How old are
is
you?
he 30?
36.
No, he's 31, I think.
Oh, there you
isn't
go,
he?
5 years. Yeah.
32.
32.
Oh, he's 32.
Oh, is he 32?
Yeah.
Yeah.